What's going on, everybody? Jared Sandler here with you for today's spring training update. And if you're new, just a reminder, especially early on when guys have played 1, 2 games, pitchers have only made one appearance. I don't really ever try and read anything into any of that. And the reality is, I really read very little into spring training games on the whole. There's certain things you can draw, other things you're just kind of grasping for straws. The way I equate it, it's like if you're playing Texas Hold'em and you pay to see the flop in every single hand. Sometimes you're going to get lured in and you're going to really push some chips in the pot and it's going to be a trap and nothing's going to come of it, right? You're going to see a guy perform well in spring training and think, oh, he's figured it out. He's got it. And then same old when the regular season happens, or a guy really struggles in spring training. You're freaking out like, oh no, like what happened to this guy? And then the season starts and no, he's the same guy, maybe even better. So I try to look at very specific things and maybe, one or two players each spring will perform in a way that there is something tangible that you can take away, whether it's a velocity thing, or in the case of Isaiah Kiner-Falefa last year, he just was driving the ball in a way that we had never before seen in the regular season or spring training or anything. So I say all that to say this, don't read anything into Kohei Arihara's performance today. It was not what you would consider a successful outing from a numbers standpoint. A few things here. One, there's a pretty strong track record of Japanese players coming over and struggling in their first spring training as they get acclimated. As recently as Shohei Ohtani, who, if you remember, was so bad that some people thought that perhaps the Angels should start him in AAA. He turned out to be really good. When healthy, he's a really good player. I think what I saw from Kohei Arihara today is consistent with what he has been saying to us the last few weeks, that he wants to try and implement the elevated fastball more. And there's a very fine line when you're elevating the fastball. It's why it was not really an in vogue thing until recently. If you leave it too high up, then, well, most guys aren't going to swing. If you don't get it high enough, it is right in a guy's wheelhouse, like it was in Andrew Vaughn's wheelhouse. He deposited one out to left field. You got to really get consistent with elevating it in the right way. And when Arihara pitched in Japan, it just wasn't something he did much of. It's something he's working on. So he missed up a lot today. And I think at least, it's consistent with something he's working on. I'm curious to see how he progresses as spring goes on. That's my takeaway from this. I'm not going to read into anything beyond that. Just, it seems like he is, consistently, he's consistent with what he has been saying and working on the elevated fastball. By the way, sidebar, tomorrow I'm going to do something on Leody Taveras. I'm going to kind of break down a little bit of a hitting profile of Leody Taveras. If you've got any questions that you want me to answer or things you'd like me to discuss, just tweet me at Jared Sandler and let me know, and I'll implement this stuff into the videos. You can certainly, whatever it is that you want to hear about, I'd love to talk about with you. Just a few other things, just presenting information again, not reading too much into it. Ronald Guzman hit a home run today and looked like the guy that when, he's in a rhythm in the zone, is a pretty darn good hitter. Problem is it's that consistency factor. A lot of storylines this offseason about first base and Ronald Guzman and questions as to whether or not he can reclaim the job, or is he going to find himself out of the organization. And he went and won the Dominican League MVP, which the Winter League MVP, which is not no small feat, but it just doesn't guarantee any sort of translation to regular season Major League Baseball. But, has he made adjustments? Has something clicked? It's something worth monitoring. Joey Gallo also hit a home run. We saw Brett DeGus pitch, the Rule 5 acquisition the Rangers made this past offseason. He looked pretty good. He pitched a scoreless inning. He's a guy who obviously, because of the Rule 5 status, maybe has a tie goes to the DeGus type of factor there, as he tries to make the roster. One guy, a young guy who people have talked about from a prospect standpoint, Tyler Phillips. Last year was more or less a lost year for him. I believe he was at the alternate campsite, but nothing more than that. He did not look sharp today. And again, could mean nothing, could mean everything. I mean, you just don't know. But I think this is a big year for Tyler Phillips. He's not going to start the year in the big leagues, but I think his development or progression this year is going to dictate whether or not the Rangers believe that this is a guy who can contribute at the big league level, or is this just a guy who is really good at some of the lower levels of the minor leagues, but once things got, to that AA, AAA level, it just wasn't able to keep up with the pace, if that makes sense. So it wasn't a great day for Tyler Phillips, but that's going to be someone worth monitoring here this spring. And then once the season starts, what's his level of progression. There you go. That's our spring training update for today. Again, at Jared Sandler on Twitter, whatever questions you might have, would love to answer them. Would love to talk Rangers baseball with you and what you want to talk about or you want to hear about. Hope everyone's safe. Have a great day.